I tell you, folks, this is a smoking gun. This is the FBI acknowledging that the purpose of gain of function, an obvious use of gain of function, is to create a virus that doesn't have fingerprints showing that it was manipulated by human hands. So now the big news. Well, there's been a lot of big news here today, right? But really big news in new documents from the FBI that were just turned over to us about Fauci's gain-of-function research. The FBI was investigating the Fauci agency. Now, we had uncovered that in March of 2022. We uncovered it 2 years ago that the FBI up in Newark was investigating Fauci's gain-of-function funding operations. You know, Fauci was funding gain-of-function in China and elsewhere. Now, Fauci has denied its gain-of-function, I think falsely, in a way that raises questions of perjury. But certainly the FBI thought there might be something up, and they were conducted an investigation. And to this day, I've been astonished that no one's been asking questions about what the FBI did and whatever happened with that investigation. So, of course, who was asking questions? Judicial Watch. You know, we uncovered this document in this batch of materials from, the early part of 2022. We followed up with the field office or asked for records about what was going on in that field office. It was the Newark field office of the FBI. I don't know why they had it. Who knows? And we got new documents that are truly astonishing because the FBI almost immediately knew what was up about gain of function. And the documents are here. I'll show you what they look like, at least as we get them. Oh, I guess I was looking at the other camera. There we are. That's what they look like. There's a cover letter. They withheld some information from them. The names of some of the agents involved, and the names of the FBI agents involved, at least the lower level ones, which I object to, but there's probably not much we can do about that. The senior agent, his name was, he was kept in, Gregory Yeary, who was the special agent in charge of the Washington field office. So he was involved in the investigation. So this was a senior level FBI investigation of the Fauci gain-of-function applications. And so it's a chain, essentially it's a chain of emails that begin in, excuse me, that begin on April 23rd. So they're all on that one. It looks like it's all within one day. So it's an email chain, right? You've all seen email chains. You read it from the bottom to the top, right? And I guess there are two email chains. So the FBI examined the NIAID grant for gain of function in China, and they immediately termed it gain of function. So the FBI disputes Fauci's decision to hide the nature of and testify that he was not supporting gain of function, because this is an FBI document that disputes that. The details of the current NIAID grant for the Wuhan Institute of Virology bat coronavirus surveillance and the Wuhan Institute of Virology bat coronavirus gain of function research are available at, and they provide a link to where they are available. The key activity for bat coronaviruses are surveillance. The key activity for bat. Let me start over. The key activity for bat coronavirus surveillance is AIM-1. We will sequence receptor binding domains, spike proteins, there you go, to identify viruses with the highest potential for spillover, which we will include in our experimental investigations. The key activity for bat coronavirus gain of function, the FBI email goes on to say, is AIM-3. We will use S protein sequence data, infectious clone technology, in vitro and in vivo infection experiments and analysis of receptor binding to test the hypothesis that a percentage divergence thresholds in S protein sequences predict spillover potential. And then the FBI analyst translates it. Translated into lay language, this equates to, in AIM-3, we will use de novo synthesis to construct novel viruses encoding different spike proteins in an otherwise constant genomic context. And we will test the ability of the resulting novel viruses to infect human cells in culture and to infect laboratory animals. We hypothesize that there is a direct correlation between the receptor binding affinity of the spike protein and the abilities to infect human cells in culture and to infect laboratory animals. We will test this hypothesis by asking whether novel viruses encoding spike proteins with the highest receptor binding affinity have the highest abilities to infect human cells in culture and to infect laboratory animals. And this is the kicker. The reason I am writing is that the experimental strategy proposed in AIM-3, infectious clone technology, if performed using commercial or in-house gene synthesis, is to prepare the infectious clones, would leave no signatures of purposeful human manipulation. Again, that's their emphasis there. No signatures of infectious purposeful human manipulation. I tell you folks, this is a smoking gun. This is the FBI acknowledging that the purpose of gain of function, an obvious use of gain of function, is to create a virus that doesn't have fingerprints showing that it was manipulated by human hands or technology. I mean, can you believe it? And again, this was released by Judicial Watch, not by Congress, not by the media. It was forced out through a FOIA request from last year that was following on a FOIA release that was forced out through a FOIA lawsuit. So this is years in the making, getting this basic information about what we're told is the worst thing in the history of humanity in terms of an infectious disease, and they've been hiding this FBI document from us for four years. Judicial Watch's heavy lifting gets results for you, the American people, so that there's some accountability here. To me, this further highlights and demonstrates why Fauci needs to be prosecuted or his scandal needs to be investigated criminally. What was the FBI doing here? Was this a criminal investigation? Were they just messing around here? What was the outcome? Is it continuing? And then later, one of the emails, look at what his colleague says. Let's bring up the email about this one. Hey, are you going to be in the office tomorrow? We just interviewed our person from blank again, and he provided us with some alarming new info. Give me a call if you can. What's that info? This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Pretty much everything we know of significance about, by the way, much of the key COVID issues, whether it be the origin in China, the funding of it, and Fauci's big lies about it, the vaccine scams and schemes and dishonesty and withholding of key information, has been the result of Judicial Watch litigation and FOIA requests. And in response to all of this, the head FBI official in the Newark office, a senior official within the agency, this is interesting. He writes, "I'm following up with the squad tomorrow morning." So was this all hands on deck? As I write in the release, or I guess I'm quoted. I think I wrote this. These smoking gun documents show the FBI quickly understood that Fauci's agency funded gain-of-function research that could disguise the resulting coronaviruses as natural. These new documents further demonstrate the need for a comprehensive criminal investigation into Fauci's gain-of-function scandal. And in our release, we go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 major disclosures by Judicial Watch on COVID. So I encourage you to go look at the full release. I can't go through all of them here. I guess I could, but I don't think I have the time today to do it, literally, because I got to get home. So what's happening on the Hill? I mean, there's been some news. Rand Paul's gotten some material out. There's been questions about other people hiding records and maybe keeping them off the books, so to speak, by keeping them in private servers as opposed to government servers. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. But this is a smoker, isn't it? And I tell you, it's another reason, because as I go through this, we have a big book coming out later this year, another Judicial Watch book, that will cover a lot of this COVID stuff and put it all in one place, these important disclosures, so that the historical record is clear about what happened and who's responsible. And I had a tweet up earlier. I don't think we pulled it up for this show. I guess it's easy for me to remember because I said in the tweet, and I'll say it here, Fauci did it. He did it. They set up these mutant coronaviruses in China, and we're expected to believe they had nothing to do with COVID. Now, does this show that the gain of function led to COVID? No, but it's more circumstantial evidence that it was possible. Now, it used to be I'd be banned for even thinking that, or at least saying it. They haven't figured out a way to ban me for thinking things yet, right? They censor us for thinking. Just give them a few more years. But if I said this a few years ago, we would have these videos taken down. But because of our, as I say, our heavy lifting, the truth has come out. And it's inescapable now that we were funding gain-of-function research for years in China. We knew it was gain-of-function research. As soon as COVID hit, the Chinese, working with Fauci's agency, covered it up. And part of that covered up involved the censorship of American citizens from raising these legitimate questions, even as the FBI is pursuing the same allegations. There's got to be accountability. And the first step to accountability is kind of getting the basics of the truth out. And that's why Judicial Watch's work is so important. So I encourage you to share these documents far and wide, because if you think this issue is just going to end, or we don't have to be worried about anything because COVID is over, practically speaking, you're wrong. Gain-of-function research goes on here in the United States. Some of these disclosures I'm talking about include disclosures of gain-of-function happening here in the United States improperly. Why is gain-of-function dangerous? As I discussed, you change the virus, the subject virus, to make it more communicable, more likely to infect human beings, potentially more dangerous, increase their function, gain of function. You're putting the humanity at risk potentially. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.